Talk about whether you should put your human capital reporting information in the CSR. If you talk to people who are serious about human capital reporting, and that's of course what I do all the time, almost everybody doesn't like that idea. And the reason is people who are advocates of the importance of human capital say, look, this is something that drives the success of organizations, whereas CSR report is focusing on corporate social responsibility, as its name suggests, and that means we're doing things because we feel they're good to do, they're useful to do, we have a responsibility to do them, not that we're doing them because they're driving profitability. But we're saying, of course, that human capital does drive profitability, and therefore putting it in the CSR gives the wrong connotations. So that's the principled response that, as I say, most people who are advocates of reporting on human capital would agree with. But realistically, that may not be so easy. I mean, where are you going to put it? Are you going to dump it in the annual report? That can be hard to do, practically speaking, finding the space for that. Whereas the CSR already has space for human capital, for information on human capital, so that's a lot easier to do. Now, my own personal preference is to create a standalone report on human capital. That gives you the most flexibility. You can take as much or as little space as you need, and it's really focused exactly on what it is you want to do, talk about human capital. But that's yet another report, and that may require yet another budget, more responsibilities. Whereas if you look at the CSR, there already is a space for human capital reporting there. There's already a budget. There are already people worrying about what do we put in the report about human capital. So given that I'm assuming that people are struggling with budgets, struggling with time, and it's just hard to get something new done, I would think the pragmatic thing to do is to, well, let's put our human capital reporting in the CSR, and if we do a good job of it and it's clear that this human capital is indeed driving success, people are not going to say, well, because it's in the CSR somehow it's not important to profitability. So that's my advice. That's the practical thing to do. Work with what you have, which is the CSR, get good human capital reporting in there, and we can move on.